What did we see last night? That was
who needs a don't sleep
a
right
bloodbath.
now.
I mean, do you remember the scene in The Shining when all of the blood pours out of the elevator down the hallway? That's what you saw last night at FedEx Field.
The first half.
What an embarrassment that
Weren't
was
the Commanders
last night.
supposed to have a good defense?
Well, allegedly.
No more talk about the defense. It's all reputation, no results. Their defense is all reputation, no results.
You're a little fired up this morning. Was that Bears team 0-4 or 4-0?
0-4. They hadn't won in a year.
Because they looked like they were 4-0.
Yeah.
That defense gave up so many yards in the first half in particular.
Oh, yeah.
And overall, 451 yards. But I tallied it up last night. They're giving up 32 points a game.
Yep. They're on track to give up the most points in NFL history.
Yeah, just in the last month, they've given up 33, 37, 34, and 40. 40 to the Chicago Bears.
And Emmanuel Forbes, he might need to sit for a week.
Well,
yeah,
he's sat him at the end of the game.
He might need to sit.
Been benched twice now in the last 3
years. Your top pick, he can't handle top-level wide receivers at this point in his career.
Well, what do you have a problem with more, his lack of coverage or his lack of tackling?
Both are bad.
Because his tackling attempt on DJ Moore was laughable.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, but we kind of knew that coming in. He's a slight guy. And there was always this undercurrent of, well, he played in the SEC. He was able to hold up, playing there throughout his college career.
It was just horrible technique.
This is different level.
It was just horrible.
Just the amount of explosive plays that this defense gives up, especially down the sideline. It's happened for 4 straight weeks.
Yeah, right.
And you could kind of write it off when you're facing Philly and Buffalo. You can look at it like, okay, those teams are going to get theirs.
Yeah.
But there's no excuse to let Chicago come in and shove it on you in your house to the tune of 40 points.
No. It was a humiliating effort. It was a humiliating display. And it didn't affect the outcome. But the owners, it can't be like smoking and joking when you're down 20-3, you got cameras on you. I know you didn't know he had the cameras on him. But you're getting smoked and you're sitting there laughing at texts on your phone. That's embarrassing.
Right, he's
embarrassing. Look at you see how Magic was?
Yeah.
Magic was livid.
Well, Magic fired off a tweet about how ill-prepared the team looked.
That had no impact on the game, but that honeymoon is over.
Wasn't a great look.
You mean Josh Solo Cup Harris? Yeah. That's what I was dubbing him on Twitter.
I'm not saying anything, but he looked like he was partying.
Oh, yeah. You know what? That does lend a little credence to Drab's assertion that this to him is just another investment. It's in his sportsfolio. It
didn't even look like an investment. It looked like it was just a party for him.
Team, he just
had a party.
I would have been crestfallen.
That's what he had.
And what was happening.
He doesn't care about the outcome. He knows it's the greatest investment he's ever going to make.
That was the ultimate rich guy, not caring about the outcome,
disaffected,
just counting his money.
Now you know why the Sixers fans they didn't like him.
I don't know. Can't speak to Philly.
He cares about the money.
That's a sideshow.
It was just a bad look.
That's a sideshow. It's a bad look. Front and center is this team has lost 3 games in a row. And we gave them a moral victory for Philadelphia. Now that's embarrassing because they followed it up with losing to arguably the worst team in the NFL. Now, to his credit, Justin Fields has played really well the last 2 games. Mm-hmm. And maybe they're better than what they've been. But they hadn't won in a year. How many games in a row had they lost?
14, I believe.
14 games in a row. We talked about all the statistics going in. Defensively, they were the second worst team in the NFL. Mm-hmm. Only the Broncos were worse, and the Broncos gave up 70 points in a game. So we assumed the offense would have a big day against the Bears' defense. Mm. And then we talked about the Bears' offense. Mostly inept. And they had their way, whatever they wanted to do. I mean, the first pass of the game, guy's wide open on a double move. He missed Mooney.
It could have been worse because Justin Fields missed multiple wide open guys throughout the game. This score could have and should have been worse.
Yeah.
And the DJ Moore phantom stepping out of bounds. He didn't step out of bounds in that play. He should have had 4 touchdowns.
He should have had 4.
Did he not? You saw the replay that he did not.
Saw the replay 100 times.
Warren Sharp put out something. I tweeted it at Junks Radio. There's a tracer technology thing where you see the whole thing, and it appears he does not step out of bounds.
That's where also I criticize Amazon Prime's coverage because they didn't show any good replay, like after the play
Yeah,
happened.
because I don't remember that. So you guys saw it on Twitter.
Yeah, saw it on Twitter after the fact. But, I mean, DJ Moore should have had 4 touchdowns.
And Fields, I watched the Amazon post-game show, and Fields sat down with all the guys, and he missed DJ Moore for another touchdown pass.
Right.
Where DJ Moore's wide open in the end zone, and it just goes maybe a yard too much.
Yeah,
I mean,
that would have been a difficult throw and catch.
The Bears could have scored 50 on this defense last night. 50
What happened
points.
to the pass rush? You see flashes. You'll see Chase Young every once in a while, or Montez Sweat. Every one of these guys,
There's
you'll
just
see
no
flashes.
consistency.
But for the most part, especially in the first half, Justin Fields could do whatever he wanted to do.
Well, we're making.
How about the rushing yards? We're talking about the passing. How about the rushing yards?
And maybe we
thank
should
God
respect
that
it,
guy
because I
got
brought
hurt.
this up yesterday. I did bring this up yesterday. Now, I didn't believe that it was going to happen because I picked the Commanders to win convincingly, but they ran for almost 250 yards against them last year.
Mm-hmm.
And we mentioned
Yep.
it. Now, last year was different because it was Dave Montgomery and Fields ran for a bunch, but Herbert ran for a bunch last year. I mean, in the first half, he was almost 9 yards a carry.
The Bears ran
Yeah.
for 178 yards, and all of their running backs were getting injured. Khalil Herbert twisted his ankle.
They were using a fullback.
Roshan Johnson
He
got
hurt. He got
concussed.
hurt. Right.
Kerry Blasingame came in and looked like freaking Herschel
At
Walker.
one point in the first half, they were at, and the decent amount of football been played. They were averaging 9 yards a carry.
Yeah. I mean,
At one point.
just an utter embarrassment.
Is that
all
the
way
worst
around.
they've looked defensively
In a while.
in a long time?
In a long time. It's the worst first half I can
Considering the
remember.
opponent, it's one thing to give up that many yards.
I mean, I
against
expected this. If this was going to happen, it would have happened last week. To play
Right.
with the fire that they had last week and then to come out like this, allegedly a sold-out crowd at
It's
your
a
own
Thursday
joint,
night,
national TV,
right.
owners partying his ass off, and you just lay an egg like that.
Biggest
oh my
egg
God.
ever. Big ostrich
I mean,
egg
that was
laid at
just-
FedEx Field.
The only word I could say, and I got so many texts from people I haven't heard from in months, and I just was responding to everybody. Humiliating.
Yeah.
Humiliating.
I mean,
Embarrassing,
people are
right?
they're taking shots.
This is not great. When Magic Johnson, one of the owners, tweets this last night, 6 hours ago. Tonight, the Commanders played with no intensity or fire. We didn't compete in the first half and got down 27-3
Did not
heading
compete.
into halftime. It was too big of a hole to climb out of, and that is why we ended up losing 40-20.
Yeah.
That is one of the owners of the team.
Right. I don't know how
That
much
is
he
a
say. I don't know how much
horrible-
say he has over anything.
But if you're Magic, you can say whatever you want.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you can say whatever you
sure.
want.
Yeah.
He just
Freaking Magic
the guy's
Johnson.
a winner.
Yeah,
He's
he's-
not used to losing.
He obviously wasn't smiling, smoking a joke in the
No.
booth.
Yeah, I bet if you saw a picture of Magic, he wasn't partying up in the booth while the Bears were shoving it on the Commanders.
This looks like a guy can't believe he still owns a team. You know what I mean? He can't believe he owns a team.
Man,
I
you know what?
hate that. It has no impact on the game. I just hate the look.
I thought there was no way that this year's version of Bears Commanders would be worse than last year, because last year was just so gross and ugly and 12-7. It was just horrible.
Yeah.
This is 1,000 times worse. 1,000 times worse than last year's game.
Yeah, I
Because
did not see it coming.
I mean, you're
Not many
allegedly-
people did.
you're-
I mean,
did not see it coming.
Props to Valdez. He picked the Bears. I mean, he didn't pick them, to score 40, but he picked
Right.
them. But everybody else that we talked to, what was the experts' percentage?
It was
Winning
like
percentage? 94%.
Yeah, I mean, like everybody on the Amazon Prime crew, aside
Yeah.
from Fitz, picked the
The
Commanders
last
to
thing
win.
I would have expected was to see 27-3 at half.
I don't know
Yeah.
if you
That
watched
was
post game.
disgusting.
Yeah,
Fitz
bro.
said that he saw from Justin Fields in the Broncos game.
Post game. As soon as DJ Moore made a house call again to make it 36-20, I immediately turned the TV off. Why would I watch the post game?
I watched the post game.
It was over.
How
Because to me, what's the difference in going to bed at 12 and 12:30? But what I was going to say is Fitz said that he saw from Justin Fields in the Broncos game a guy who looked different in terms of setting his feet and just firing the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the
been
way
much
that
better
you
last
can
2 weeks.
disrupt that is if your defensive line gets to the quarterback. And I know statistically they had a couple of sacks. But
Yeah,
for the
whatever.
most part,
the least impactful sacks
he was
ever.
comfortable.
Yeah.
Oh,
He
so
was
comfortable.
comfortable. And the secondary got torched. Cody Barton stinks. This defense, it is all reputation.
And meanwhile, on the other side, the Bears pass rush, which was non-existent for the first 4 weeks, they were making life hell on Sam Howell
They
throughout the
blitzed
game.
a bunch.
Now, they might not have racked up a bunch of sacks, but he was pressured
Well, they
consistently.
finished with 5.
They got
throughout
five.
Got
the
a
game.
bunch at the end,
Well, they didn't run the ball. Remember last week we talked about the Commanders having balance?
Well, you couldn't.
Correct. They couldn't have it.
Yeah, when you're 27-3 down,
statistically,
you have to pass the ball.
If you just look at the amount of times Sam Howell dropped back, 5 sacks is not that bad, given the dropbacks and the runs.
51 times, you're going to get sacked 5 times.
No, you drop back 55 times.
You count as runs, yeah.
I mean, if I'm Arthur Smith, if I'm the head coach of the Falcons, even though I'm super horny to run the ball, I'm passing the ball all game long on this command.
Why you can run against us too?
Because the secondary can't stop anybody.
They can't stop.
They get Drake London,
they don't stop the run either. They don't stop the run.
I know. They're bad all the way around.
The Commanders had 55 passes to 6 runs.
Right.
Correct.
If you take Sam Howell's runs and put that in as a drop back.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Brian Robinson ran the ball 6 times.
Now, it's because the game got out of hand and they had to throw the ball, and the Bears were playing that deep, soft coverage, so you might as well just take the 6- and 7-yard passes for the most part. Now, Sam Howell made some really nice throws throughout the game, but the story to me is the defense, because we were almost giving them a pass going, all right, they gave up 30 points per game in the last 3 weeks, but it was against the Bills and Josh Allen. They're amazing. It was against the Eagles, and they're amazing. Well, turns out the defense stinks.
Bad.
Beyond that, I mean, everything you said is true. Can't argue with it. To me, the story was the lack of passion, the lack of emotion. I know you don't care about it. I need to see my coaches fired up. They're just sitting there so stoic.
But Eberflus isn't fired up.
What? They didn't need to be.
Eberflus wasn't fired up. I think that's the most overrated thing about coach being fired up.
I know you don't like it, but it's part of the game. Those guys were not ready to play. And you need to light a fire in there. Emotion is a part of football. It's a big part of football. And we had no emotion in that first half. Then our coach looked dead.
Ron's weird
zombie.
His weird sideline
interview. Eric, that's the way he always looks.
I know. It's
win or lose.
That's why he's a bad coach.
Yeah.
Part of the reason.
His sideline interview was wacky too. When she's like, "What did you say to the players at halftime?" He's like, "I just let the players talk. I didn't say a word."
I'll let them talk to each other. Okay? What guys are going to do, the guys are going to well and feel. So
Yeah, I know.
I didn't have a problem with it. He was disgusted. Maybe it's his tactic. But in the end, this is 4 straight weeks of over 30 points, and this is the most humiliating one. Something is absolutely wrong. I know a lot of people are calling for Jack Del Rio's head, and I almost wonder when you see Magic Johnson's statement and you have a longer week if they're going to do anything. I highly doubt it.
I'd have no problem with it.
I highly doubt it, but everybody wants Jack Del Rio out. And they've got 6 first-round picks starting on that defense.
Why stop at JDR? Why would you stop there? You're not – if you're gonna,
I agree with you, Cakes. I agree with you.
Just because you have to have somebody in that position. I mean, who are you going to put in?
Just toss the keys to Eric Bieniemy and say, "Here's your audition. Here's your."
I know, but if you fired Del Rio,
on fire either. Bieniemy's been.
Trust me, I know that. But,
maybe he's been better than the other two, but he's been.
But what do you have to lose at this point?
No, it's fine. just see what you got.
How are you giving up 4? Justin Fields looked like Warren Moon last night.
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
When you have 4 first-round picks on the line. Who maybe it is all reputation, but those guys had played really good football
the
last few years.
Individually, they're not playing well as a team.
They're not, and
Chase not setting the edge.
The
Chase
question
had
is
some really
why.
good plays, and he had some others where he's just freelancing, doing his own thing.
He affected some
not
pros,
disciplined,
but it's the consistency or lack thereof. I mean, and then the secondary just gets torched.
And to their credit, the Bears offensive coordinator called a good game. I don't think that the Commanders were ready for as much first down passing, and they obviously saw something on film, which we've been talking about the last couple of weeks, where they have a propensity to give up big plays. They did to Russell Wilson. They did to Jalen Hurts. And then DJ Moore had a career night.
It's easy to call a great game when everything is available to you and Justin Fields has a clean pocket for most of the night.
You know, he did that with only connecting with 3 receivers in the game.
Right.
He connected only with DJ Moore, Cole Kmet, and he had 2 passes to Tunyon. That's it.
Yeah.
So why would you go away from DJ Moore when he's volcanic?
I know, but usually
he's torturing.
Usually,
Forbes.
you see a box score and you at least throw to like 6, 7 receivers.
I like highly.
Didn't need to. He only had 15 completions.
I'm throwing the ball to Tyreek and Waddle.
It was big play after big play. It was
I go to my studs, especially if they're hot, and that's what he was doing.
I heard this yesterday from a fantasy expert. He said that the last 2 weeks, the Bears have increased their play action for Fields. All right,
Yep.
highest increase of play action in the league. The third worst defense against play action, the Washington Commanders.
Who are the two that are worse than them?
I don't know.
I think
Probably
that's
the
something
Broncos.
also that
He said-
Washington did a lot last week against Philly. Now, you can't do it. It's not going to work in this game when you're down 24.
Yeah.
So it's not part of ours. But that's a big thing that we did in week, whatever that was, week 4.
Yeah.
Brian
Well,
Robinson
did
had
you
6
notice
carries for 10 yards.
Right. Did you notice a lot how much play action the Fields was running? He was running a lot of play action.
I didn't notice it a ton. I did notice that he was not under duress a lot back in the pocket.
Yeah, I know.
He could kind of do whatever he wanted.
The Bears ran for 178 yards as a team. Justin Fields, 4 touchdown passes, 282 yards. Of course, DJ Moore, 8 catches for 230 yards and 3 touchdowns. It is a misery Friday.
A lot of bitterness.
Did that actually happen last night? Did it actually
Oh,
happen?
it happened. I'm so salty I didn't play DJ Moore in the captain spot in like a FanDuel DFS. You know who I put in my captain spot because I thought they're going to have a great game? The Commanders defense.
Oh, I had him
How
in one league
stupid
too.
am I?
Yeah.
How
Probably
dumb,
got 0
how
points.
dumb was that in hindsight?
In hindsight.
Dumb.
You know, it's dumb in hindsight.
Well, if you could predict the future, you wouldn't have done it.
If I could predict the future, I'd be a trillionaire.
Correct.
But I can't.
I had Justin Fields on my bench.
Well, that's dumb. Who did you start over him?
Golf.
Jared Goff.
Well, you're gonna live to regret that. I mean, I don't think Jared.
I started
Goff's
Fields
gonna
last
put up
week.
40.
Look, I started Fields last week against
Yeah.
the Broncos defense. I thought the Commanders defense was better. And I was buying into all of the defense of the defense.
Yeah.
All the people saying, well, they faced Josh Allen and the
Yeah.
Bills. They faced the Eagles. They were in the Super Bowl last year.
They're getting dropped.
Their defense sucks.
Their defense is bottom tier.
Their defense blows.
And you know who's to blame for it? Ron Rivera.
Rivera.
Because he's the architect. He's brought all of these players
Okay.
in. He's brought them all
Maybe
in
you're right.
under his watch.
You may be right. But at some point, the players have to be responsible.
I understand.
They played football for 20 years. They played big-time college football. They're big-time. They're getting paid a lot of money. I understand what you're going to criticize the coaching staff. I get it. You have to criticize the players more, in my opinion.
Players are ultimately responsible, but somebody's got to light a fire in their asses. I'm telling you.
somebody
Football
also-
is a game of emotion.
You're right.
There was no emotion on that sideline.
You could be right, but we just don't know what they're saying to play when the cameras aren't on them.
By the way,
I'm sure you're saying stuff.
Your
but
top Halloween
not
costume.
effective.
Your top Halloween costume in Washington this year is a black polo, black hat, set of headphones, and just walk around with your arms folded and don't
Have you
say
ever-
anything to anybody. And you're Ron Rivera.
It looked
And
literally
you
like
don't
he was
do
at a
anything.
funeral.
Yeah.
No emotion.
And they all wore black last night. You know what? Don't wear black on primetime games anymore because there's too many. Oh, you
black
guys went
is
to your
not
own
even
funeral
in our
jokes.
color scheme. I don't know why we're wearing black.
they're
Never liked it.
They were the battle blacks, EB.
We're not the Raiders.
I thought you liked that.
Nope. The one I liked of all of them is the white.
All right.
I don't like the black. Everyone's you're like you're a poser with the black.
all black prime times. It's the hot fire.
Yeah, it's not us.
All right, let's go to the phones. MGM National Harbor listener lines are locked and loaded. What's
right,
next for this team? 2-3, lost 3 in a row.
I wouldn't care at
What's
all
next?
if they just started rolling.
Probably
people.
another 30-point eruption by whatever team they're facing.
I've already forgotten. It
Falcons.
was so
Like,
bad. I've already forgotten.
How are they going to stop?
Falcons and then the
How are they
Giants.
going to stop Bijan Robinson?
Can't pick
you know
him
what
anymore.
he's going to do to that defense? He's going to have like 200 all-purpose yards next weekend.
I can't pick them anymore.
if they
I can't
make
pick 'em the rest
Desmond
of the
Ritter
way.
look like a stud,
Desmond Ritter won't
or
look-
Taylor Heineke,
He'll look decent because he usually looks bad. He'll
The
look
coach is
decent
pretty
against
committed to
but-
Ritter.
But Bijan Robinson is going to look like Walter Payton in his prime next week.
All right, let's go to Mike in La Plata. Mike,
hey Mike,
I'm punching it up.
Yo.
Drop.
Mike.
Hello, Mike.
Hey, what's up?
What's up? What's up, Junks?
Hey. What's up?
Man, hey, man, it's been a long time, but check it out, man. First of all, I don't understand why no one builds from the inside out. Offensive line is abysmal. You know, our linebackers, I don't even think we got linebackers playing in the game. I think we just got defensive line and DBs. I don't understand for the life of me when the defense is stunned that the offensive line can't pick it up. Sam Howell doesn't step up in the pocket and run when he should. I mean, man, we're unorganized. Like Magic Johnson, I don't know if you guys saw a tweet.
Yeah, we saw it.
He's just not okay. Well, he's not happy, and that's what I'm saying. And it's pissing me off, man, because we keep going through the same rigmarole every year, man. why everybody keep going to get these sexy players instead of getting the big guys to stop them. You know what I'm saying? If you got a half decent quarterback, he can be great if he got time to throw the ball.
Yeah. Well, they had to draft 2 defensive backs with their first 2 picks. How
about the one play?
They had to have Manny Forbes.
How about the one play, Mike? And I can't remember what series. I think it was the second series for Washington where Nick Gates completely whiffed on the tackle.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he whiffed on the tackle, man. He might as well just freaking be like he was playing the game of Twister.
I mean, who's he looking
man.
at?
I don't know.
I don't get it.
What I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe he's looking at you, man. Maybe he was looking at you.
I don't know what he was looking at. He wasn't looking at the guy he's supposed to be blocking. I'll tell you that.
Thank you,
You
Mike.
realize the Bears had as many points and yards in the first half than I think all of us expected that they would have in the game. Actually, if we had told you the Bears are going to score 27 points and they're going to have 281 yards of offense for the game, you'd say, I'll take the under.
Yeah, of course.
You would have taken the under, and that's what they had at the half.
Of course. By the way, do you remember how many times we heard, Manny Forbes is a ball hawk? That guy makes plays on defense. Just tilts the game in your favor.
Hey, someone
Did you see what? I know you didn't watch the post game, but after the game, I'm paraphrasing here, but Justin Fields said they looked at film, and this has to do with not just Manny Forbes, but all the team. And he basically said, we saw their coverage and we knew that they were jumpy.
Right.
So they came out of the gates with double moves.
Yep.
I mean, the very first play of the game, Mooney could have had a long pass. It was a bad pass from Justin Fields, but that was kind of a double move. And they ran double moves throughout, and every time it worked.
Yeah, a more accurate quarterback last night would have passed for 400 yards on this team.
Yeah.
They would have.
I mean, his overall completion percentage wasn't good. I think it was, about
15 for 29.
All right, so just over 50%.
I think at one point.
But he threw some nice touchdowns. The second one to Moore, that was a really nice ball in the corner.
No, he threw some nice balls.
That was a really nice ball.
He deserves it. Hats off to him.
And he also looked off the safety on the first one.
Yeah.
I think
he was in zone coverage. He made the safety go to the middle, and then he threw
had some
it to
nice
the
runs.
back pylon.
He had some nice runs on the bad snap that went high.
Sure.
He got
I don't
that and ran
understand
for
it. I don't
12
know. I
yards.
wouldn't know how to be a defensive coordinator, but there were a couple of those runs where we had only 4 down linemen, and they were spread out like you could drive a pickup truck through them.
Right.
When the way they were aligned. You know?
You know
And
what
it was easy, simple runs.
You know what the concerning thing is that Bears offensive line is basically a bunch of UPS workers they brought in because it's so tattered and torn.
Yeah, they had a bunch of guys
so
hurt.
banged up. I mean, they were down to a fullback to play running back. They had backup corners and safeties.
A bunch of hot dog flippers.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
They
basically
had
what the
guys
Bears-
dropping like flies.
and they shoved it on the Commanders with those guys.
Shoved it on them. You're right.
It was It was an embarrassment last night. Full-blown embarrassment.
All right, let's go to Aaron in Suitland. Aaron, what's up, buddy? You're on the Junkies.
Man, Junks, I tried not to get on the radio, but I couldn't take it. I asked my wife, I said, did Chicago play last week? You know, because they looked like they had 2 weeks of practice and rest and were ready to play. We came out flat. Listen, the offense is new. We all agree to that. But the defense, it's not new. It's the same D coordinator.
Been running the same scheme for 4 years.
Exactly. And it's the same results regardless of who we draft. Look, one last point. I don't want to call anyone out. But when we scored the touchdown and we went for the 2, the person that made that decision said, listen, we're going to make this a 2-score game, okay? All right, whatever. I don't know if he can add or whatever the case may be. But then here's the question. Why kick the field goal?
Yeah, I
Why
don't know.
kick the field goal on 4th and 2 and 3? Because now
Sam Howell
when
just
you went
killed
for the 2 for the
himself to
touchdown,
kick a field goal.
Right. So now you make it a 3-score game. So why go for the 2? Why do that?
I don't
and
understand
then
it
this idiot
either.
says that he lets the freaking.
Well, I'll defend him on this. If Joey Sly makes his field goal, all right, then it's a 1-touchdown game. And so you could defend the decision earlier in the game.
He just didn't get killed on
Sly
it.
missed a huge field goal.
Of course he did.
That's
you
what he
keep
does.
trotting him out there, he's going to miss about 1 out of every
But if
4
you're
or 5.
Ron and you have
He's
any
not very
stone,
good.
and you have any stones at that point, and you see your quarterback pinballing off 4 defenders, fighting his ass off to try to get the first down, and it's like 4th and 2 or 4th and 3,
You got all the momentum in the
You got to go
world.
for it at that point.
Yeah.
You can't just settle for a field goal.
No, you can
Especially
never
when
call
you
a
know,
riverboat Ron.
especially
ever
when you know
again.
your defense isn't stopping anybody.
Yeah.
You're going to have to
try to get the
outscore.
7
I don't
there.
even like going for 2. I think we do it way too much and stuff, but that one was pretty egregious in my opinion. Let's go to Marvin in Landover. Marvin, what's up?
Hey, how's it going, Junks? I'm
What's
not
up, Marvin?
really feeling that great, but let's just kick it off with I can't get over how ridiculous it is watching a team that's an underdog fight like dogs and then is a favorite and comes out like dogs. I mean, I'm just trying to figure out why this team can't this coach can't feel the temperature of his team. It's like I coached like youth football, and one time I remember my team was feeling bad, and I called out this really sick trick play to get their emotions back into the game. It's like they don't have anything to affect their players to like get them into the game. He had to feel that they were not.
Don't you agree? This is what I'm trying to explain to JP. Emotion is a big part of the game.
It's absolutely
a big part of the game. We didn't see any emotion.
He didn't read the room. It's like, do they have a defensive call that will get a free rusher? Do they have a trick play that'll get you 50 yards and all of a sudden get the team excited? Do they have anything to help their team? Because constantly they always are playing from behind emotionally. I just thought that was trifling as a coach.
Well, maybe they're not good enough. I think after 5 games and 4 straight games giving up 30, you have to give a true assessment of the defense. They may have this reputation and all these first-round picks, but they don't have results. They're not good enough.
But they had it last year.
I think
they had results last year.
To an extent, like
that was the
yardage-wise,
strength of their team.
They were number 4 in terms of yardage.
So they had it.
But they weren't winning games.
Well, it's because the offense sucked. They needed to score points. Now you got an offense that might be able to get you 30.
And Drab brought this up. 2 out of the last 3 years, their defense has stunk. Last year was the outlier.
Yeah, I don't understand. And with the emotional part of it, I mean, I can't criticize the coaches for the players not having emotion. The players have to come out fired up.
But then what is your job then? Why don't you just have some stats
schematics?
Just have a stats nerd just stand there and call.
I don't know what Ron does, to be honest.
I don't know.
He
doesn't do anything.
Watch him.
Just my reaction.
He doesn't do anything. He maybe works the officials. That's about all he does.
Well, I don't know if there's even much of that happening.
But it's not different. It's not different than a lot of the head coaches in the league who are winning games. That's how
fine.
most coaches are, in
You
fact.
can be stoic. When you're getting your ass smoked on national TV, you got to kick some coolers, and you got to get in guys' asses.
It's so cliche.
It's
that
not
doesn't
cliche.
mean anything.
Dude, I'm telling you, it's a game of emotion.
I know, but you rarely see that at the NFL level, head coaches.
I see
now, maybe
the enemy has fire.
Okay, maybe the assistant coaches do.
The enemy has fire.
And then when the assistants go over to the benches, when their guys are just sitting there, maybe they fire them up a little bit. But the players got to come out of the tunnel fired up.
Jack looks dead. Ron looks dead. I hate it.
Hey, the older you get, the less energy you have.
They
got no
energy. They also know they're dead men walking. They know that their time here is pretty short.
In the moment, they're not thinking about that. In the moment, they should be thinking, holy smokes, this is humiliating. And I'm not going to let you guys humiliate me like this.
Right. Put up the Junkies poll of the day, brought to you by Van Meter Homes.
Totally agree. John Harbaugh is a fiery SOB on the sideline when S is hitting the fan.
Yeah.
I think Pete Carroll is chomping his gum and stalking the sideline.
He's working.
And that's an old fogey.
Yeah, he's working.
He's 72.
He's
some
firing
guys
up, even though mostly it's positive.
I mean, you saw Daboll go after Daniel Jones after he threw the bad pick.
Yeah. Right. I don't even think Daboll's that great.
But eventually, the players got to take care of business.
Of course,
just get a robot.
Ultimately,
just go get a robot.
Oh, I think they already have one. I don't think you need to go get one.
I
think they've got
a malfunctioning robot.
Junkies poll of the day brought to you by Van Meter Homes. Who do you blame the most for the Commanders' woes?
All of them.
Ron Rivera, Jack Del Rio, or the players?
All of them.
You can vote at Junks Radio.